For the first time in nearly 3 decades, the Environmental Protection Agency has not published a mandatory annual report detailing the amount of climate pollution produced in the U.S. The U.S. is a member of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which means it is required to submit a national greenhouse gas emissions inventory report by April 15th each year. So when the deadline passed and it was still not published, the nonprofit Environmental Defense Fund filed a Freedom of Information Act request and made the report public last week. CBS News combed through the report and found that despite making some progress to reduce carbon emissions, the U.S. is not moving fast enough to achieve certain climate thresholds. In 2023, total greenhouse gas emissions dropped by 2% from the year prior, and by 17% since 2005. Tracy Wholf joins us now. She's a senior coordinating producer for the CBS News Climate Unit. So, Tracy, do we know why the EPA didn't publicize this?
Well, I asked them, and they didn't respond to our request for comment. My suspicion is this has to do with what the EPA and the Trump administration don't like to talk about, which is climate change. Obviously, carbon pollution creates more greenhouse gases. That helps contribute to climate change. This is something that they are not interested in studying. They kind of are trying to bury these types of things. So my guess is they decided we're not going to publish this report. As you mentioned, it is required because the U.S. is a member of the UNFCCC. It is required because we were a member to publish this report. Even though we dropped out of the Paris Agreement, we're still a member of that convention, and therefore we're still required to publish the report. So the data was FOIA'd. We got the data. We did our own analysis on it.
What is your analysis?
Well, our analysis is we're not doing it fast enough. So back when the United States first published goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in 2015, when they did sign the Paris Climate Agreement, they said by 2025, we want to reduce emissions between 26 to 28% from 2005 levels. Well, this year, we've got that data back. We've only reduced our emissions by 17%. Last year, under the Biden administration, we were required to submit new goals. So we said, OK, by 2035, we're going to reduce our emissions between 61 to 66% by 2035. And the big reason they were able to project that big decrease is because of things that they built into the IRA Act. Now that there's a lot of interest in rolling back some of those things, I don't think we're going to get to that 61% reduction in a decade, especially given what we're seeing with Congress.
What sectors are most responsible for producing the most greenhouse gas emissions?
Yep, the top sector is transportation, followed by the electricity generation sector. What's interesting here is historically, the way that we generated electricity used to be the most polluting sector, and that's now shifted with transportation. Again, the biggest way to reduce those emissions are to transition to cleaner energy, to electrify a lot of our modes of transportation, things that we were starting to do, which is why those emission levels were going down. But a lot of policies are now in place to stop that transition.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, a lot of the things that the Trump administration is doing, they want to support more fossil fuel generation in the way that we create energy. They are de-incentivizing things like electric vehicles. There just isn't a lot of momentum under this administration to prioritize those things. And therefore, I think when you're looking at this report in the future, instead of dramatically decreasing emissions, I imagine you'll start to see them go up.
Tracy Wholf, thank you for coming through this report and bringing that to us.